medical community and all that. And I came to the conclusion that medical profession with respect to old people is extremely unethical. And I kind of figured out that we've learned how to combat structural defects of the body, but we haven't learned how to increase the quality of life associated with that. And so the medical profession is on the wrong track battling death. The medical profession should embrace death and focus on quality of life at the end of life. And an 80-year-old doesn't need to go through chemotherapy because they have cancer. They can just give it comfort measures. And so I think that would be the ethical thing to do and not the treatment. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much for an outstanding room. And everybody who talked, I really, really enjoyed it.
Ditto on that. Sam, I want to actually have a talk on the topic you just brought up. I think that deserves more room to breathe. Figure that out. I'll look into some, the idea of just having a dying process that really serves the person rather than all the other things we're experiencing right now. Seems like a really important topic. Anyone else have any final thoughts? Just 30 seconds.
Well, just let's take care of our health because we need you all here.
Amen. Okay, I'm gonna shut her down. If anyone speak now or until tomorrow. Okay. Thanks everyone, and I agree with what Sam said. I mean, it really today just seemed
call that everybody attends and complains because we got to get this stopped. Also, well, there he is. He's already at the bottom. Anything we can do to dox him would be wonderful. I'm doing what I can. He's a scumbag. He's, I don't even have to tell you. He's a lowlife. He's not a congressman. He's not a veteran. He's a convicted felon. He's a scumbag maggot. All those things. If we can get him thrown out of Clubhouse, get him thrown out of YouTube, we would be doing a service. So try to ignore him. He's just I don't know, this time of the year or this time of whatever's going on.
It's a feature of reality. Let's just move forward then.
Yeah.
Invocation passed.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, David, do you know how? I mean, I've looked all over for ways to make this a private room. I don't see any way to do it. There is no switch where you can switch it on and make it a private room. Is there something I'm missing here?
I haven't around with the settings. I can go rummage around if you want, but the technology answer is pick another platform that actually has the feature.
No, I know. But I don't know. This is so.
You open a panopticon and you change your speech slightly, or because other people have to. Then, if you want people to come on stage, you have to know that they know that this is a semi-private space and it's not fully private. And then they state it and move forward, and just
Yeah.
You said same speech was we all, everybody in this range almost had the speech ethics of in your accountable for what you say. So
Yeah.
Hey, Ben.
Stevie, any different?
We can't hear you, David. You got blurry.
Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a small room where we just do a debrief of my weekly room.
Yeah.
And it's only, people are constantly, sometimes we have guest speakers, so I invite them in for the debrief, and they're always telling me, oh, if I don't do a direct invite, they can't find me. So
Yeah.
there is a way, I think, that you just only pick the members, you list the members who are members of that room. I think there is a way. I'll try to remember how to do it.
I mean, I think if you make it a live room, which means that it can't be posted ahead of time, and it won't go out to the house. What it means is that I would have to go out and remember everybody's name and invite you all individually, and otherwise you wouldn't even see it in the hallway.
Right.
So I know I could do that, but that's going to defeat the purpose of everything.
Well, you do have your list of members in your house. You have your whole list of members in your house.
Well, that's true.
You don't have to remember them. They're all there. And I think that's it. You just make members, just the members, and then they're the only ones that get the announcement, and you don't do public announcements. I think that's it. Something like that.
Okay, because you know what? The one place I hadn't looked was my own personal house as opposed to the Deep State Patriots, so maybe that's what it is.
Well, the Deep State Patriots has your list of all your members also.
Right.
Yeah.
But if I do, if I make the house, the room through Deep State Patriots, I haven't seen any way to make that private or friends of friends. There's no switch to do that.
I don't think there. I don't know if there's an instant switch, but I do know that I'm pretty sure that you can start. I think you can control who comes in. I'll see what
Nell, do you have any information?
I do. I just came in, but I think what you're asking is how to make this private.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the creative writing workshop house, only the people who are in the workshops are members of the house at any given 6-week period of time. Okay.
Right.
So when the workshop ends after 6 weeks, I have to take them all out of the house in order to put new people in. I have to kick them out to put new people in so it's useful. So you can't do it that way, because when you do that, that person will never get in again, like what we dealt with.
With the water.
So you absolutely have to start it as a new house. There's no other way around it. You have to do it you can do it from your own account, from Denman. And then what you do is you allow whoever you want to have be in the house. Only those people get the announcement about it. And what I would do is every week I would send out an announcement 24 hours before, just a reminder for the house for tomorrow. And then I would open the house, and only the people in the house already would get the announcement. But you can't do it out of Deep State Patriots.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you could change the name a little bit, instead of it being, you could change it better. Why from.
That would do it. But it wouldn't retain. It wouldn't retain the 3,500 members. You'd have to start from scratch.
Yeah, you have
Are
to.
all 3,500 members sterile? No. So that's the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
You have to admit 3,400 is unmanageable.
Yeah, you have to start over with who you admit.
Yeah. Well, look.
Maybe
Let's see.
he's among them.
Well, that's the other problem. He has 6.
So many
names.
aliases, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think tonight there's going to be a big pushback, and hopefully they'll at least allow the moderators to kick out Anonymous, because it's crazy. Or you know what? As a compromise, I would pay the $4, whatever it is, the $5 a month as a moderator. I paid for the privilege to be able to kick out other Anonymous. I mean, they should at least do that. That would make them extra money. But they should just do it out of principle.
I don't think they're going to change it at all then.
Really?
Yeah, really. They like it. It's what they want.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of outrage.
Their product is not your product, Ben.
I know.
Technology will colonize your
Well, this would
It
be.
doesn't matter who you are. 3,400 members is too small because it's not a pure.
Yeah.
You don't have a priest class here. You don't have pure members. It's not a real club, not a real dinner party. So anyway, let's just move on today.
Well, this will be.
It's unlikely that the policy will change.
Look,
Yeah.
79,000.
Probability says unlikely.
79,000 members is too small. That's why there's chatter now, because 79,000 members was not enough to get them to change anything. So.
By the way, how's Chatter doing? Because I'm never on Chatter. Are people using that?
I'm over there. I'm experimenting. They just went V2. They just went public with their thing. In spite of the reputation of Nelson, the founder,
Right.
they have really good staff. Like Nozzle is one paid person who is helped design it and does all the troubleshooting and really good. There's a few other people. The problem is the numbers, but they have some really great features. And you can play videos, live stream a room. You can, a bunch of tech videos. You can only get that if you pay now. If you got in on beta, which I did, you can use their studio without paying. But yeah, but it's just a matter of growing it.
I don't like the people. I mean, I've been on there since the beginning, and they never have enough money to keep developing it at a long, in a straight line. They have to do it for a while and then stop and raise more money and do it for a while and stop. And it's hard to build community because people go away.
Right, like anything new, but yeah, it's they've developed it now. Now it's just bugs and growing other things. They don't have replays yet. They're gonna start. But it's a new venture. It's a new startup, and they're and it's monetization is a big feature, and there are, just like here, it's the really what I would consider high quality rooms like this one. The ones most of us like to go to are not as many, and you need to track them down, just like people need to track us down here. So.
Right. Well, that's what I found, because when I went in, I sort of dipped my toe in a couple of times, and I just did not find I just didn't find our community there, and the people who were there were sort of the lower echelon that I just wasn't interested. There's just something about it. It's not the same. So for whatever issues we have with Clubhouse, they have attracted a really good community. I mean, I like you guys. That's the reason why I'm here. So, anyway, we'll get this.
We like you too, dear Ben.
Thank you, Parisian. All right, so let's get the room started and ignore that jerk. What I wanted to do is Steve Appel got here pretty early, and because he wanted to hear my song, that's what it was. But he put a link in, and I imagine it perhaps could do with something with Los Angeles, and I was feeling a little homesick. So I thought we'd start out with Steve Appel. Did you want to talk about the link? I have no idea what the link is or what you wanted to bring up, but go ahead.
Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Deep State Patriots, and what a pleasure it is to be back in the best, and I mean number one, defeat Donald Trump at all costs echo chamber on Clubhouse. I love it not only when I have the time, but I have the reason to come in. And the link that I put in the chat is the reason. From NBC News, the trumpet, you see a little bit of news, yeah. The Trump administration has sued the city of Los Angeles over its immigration policies, claiming the city's law discriminates against federal law enforcement agencies by treating them differently from other law enforcement enforcement authorities. The lawsuit, which was filed in the Central District of California, notes up at the top that Donald Trump campaigned and won the presidential election on a platform of deporting the millions of illegal immigrants the previous administration permitted through its open borders policy to enter the country unlawfully. The suit, which names Mayor Karen Bass, the city council, and the city council president, Marquise Harris Dawson, as defendants, claims that Los Angeles laws and policies obstruct the enforcement of immigration laws. A spokesperson for Mayor Bass did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Sanctuary policies were the driving cause of the violence, chaos, and attacks on law enforcement that Americans recently witnessed in Los Angeles. Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a statement, jurisdictions like Los Angeles that flout federal law by prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens are undermining law enforcement at every level. It ends under President Trump. The lawsuit comes weeks after protests over the administration's deportation efforts exploded in Los Angeles. The protesters, along with Mayor Bass and California Governor Gavin Newsom, who I affectionately refer to as the Gav, have become key targets for the Trump and his allies. And guys, it'll finish up right here. The Trump administration has taken an aggressive approach to immigration, reassigning resources from other areas to immigration enforcement. One of Bondi's first acts as Attorney General was to announce a lawsuit against New York over its sanctuary policies. In Los Angeles, Trump and Newsom squared off over the use of the National Guard troops in the city in response to the protests. So, Ben, there's your story. Donald Trump is suing Mayor Bass and Los Angeles. Whoa.
Wow. You know what? That seems to me to have come from the pen of Stephen Miller. Like, exactly. It's like he's now writing legal briefs. Well, now that we have one Steve, I think it's a good segue. Thank you, Uncle Steve. That was great. Stephen Crone, I know you've got something up in your PTR, but I'm curious what you think. I mean, is this a frivolous lawsuit that we're talking about here?
Yeah, probably. There's a couple of landmark cases in what's called anti-commandeering, which basically say that the federal government can't directly order state law enforcement authorities to do anything. Obviously they're trying to come up with an alternative theory here, but I don't see how you get around the idea that claiming that that states are not cooperating with feds, whereas they would cooperate with other state authorities, is somehow discrimination. I don't see how that doesn't gut the concept of anti-commandeering. So principle one is, again, the anti-commandeering doctrine under the 10th Amendment, which says, the federal government can't directly order state law enforcement authorities to do anything. And then the second piece of that is, well, but what about the federal government trying to get them to do what they want by denying, federal funding? And there, basically the concept is that it has to be connected. You can withhold funding where states refuse to cooperate with certain policies with regard to that funding, right? There has to be some rational connection, but you can't simply say, we're going to withhold funds from you generally if you don't do what we say, because again, that runs afoul of this anti-commandeering idea. So I think it is possible for the feds to withhold, if they were providing certain funding related to immigration, that they could withhold it. But they don't really do that because states aren't responsible for immigration law. So I don't think that the feds are providing money to the states with regard to immigration enforcement because the states don't do immigration enforcement, generally speaking. So yeah, I think this is probably frivolous. I know that they filed similar suits in other states as well. But, you know, the ones you would expect, the big blue states. There's also a suit in Illinois. I think there's also a suit in New York. So, you know, right there, those are the first three you would expect.
Right.
Illinois and California, the three most populous, quote-unquote, blue states in the country. But yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere.
So you don't think there's any chance that this is going to get appealed up to the Supreme Court?
Well, of course that's all. I should have prefaced all my comments by saying, in a normal world, this would be going nowhere. But, you know, you can't, on a different subject, but just to illustrate the point, despite the fact that Citizens United has proven to be an erroneous decision, and by that I mean its own logic has shown to be false, right? They said, oh, don't worry, this won't lead to A, B, and C, and it's exactly led to A, B, and C. So instead of revisiting Citizens United, the court announced yesterday that they're revisiting a case setting limits on coordinated spending by the party for a candidate. And so they're going in the other direction, right? It's going to be Citizens United on steroids. So we don't live